Hi, my name is Eurico Pereira and I'm a guitarist and guitar teacher making my career between London and the United Kingdom and Portugal, my home country. This is the first of a group of videos I will be posting on the web with ideas from my innovative guitar and music method entitled Música Humana, Music Humane, which is about to be published as a book. I felt that prior to its publication, it would be interesting to share some ideas and receive feedback from people. So please do comment and let me have your thoughts on the innovative techniques I am proposing. Over the next 20 minutes of video I will talk about 1. The purpose of this method, 2. The specific purpose of this chapter and its innovative right-hand technique, which I have named Pereira technique. 3. The application of such technique to a scale. 4. The application of such technique to 9 well-known melodies from the symphonic and concerti repertoire of Western classical music by Mozart, Dvorak, Mendelssohn, Beethoven and Bach. 1. The purpose of Música Humana is to discover the easiest possible way of learning and executing each one of the musical intentions / processes on the instrument guitar as it is today by human convention, with the human body as it is today by nature. I have come to conclude that choosing the easiest path is always a guarantee of choosing the right path, as long as one's goal is clearly defined and the greatest possible amount of information is assembled prior to the choice. Even if unconsciously, humans always choose the easiest possible path to their intents, as they are thus programmed as animals by nature. The easiest possible path always produces the desired goal and the greatest possible happiness, which is what keeps us alive. 2. This video is a summary of the particular contents forming the first part of the chapter entitled Phrasing. Music is organized in horizontal groups of notes of longer or shorter lengths, to which by convention we call phrases. This chapter aims to discover the easiest possible way, physically and mentally, of creating the sound impression that some notes are grouped, the feeling of independent group of notes. So the question is, what is the easiest possible way of creating musical phrases on the guitar? The first principle is that the easiest possible gesture of the human hand is to close and open. That is the first hand movement discovered by babies. The Pereira technique consists in what I call musicalize the referred hand gesture, that is, to make it mirror the desired musical ideas. Hence, the closing movement of the hand mirrors the musical phrase, as it is a continuous gesture, a general movement. In turn, the fingers mirror each one of the constituting notes of the phrase, each part of that general movement. We may find phrases of 1, 2, 3, 4 or more notes. For groups of 1 note, we shall play with the index finger. For groups of 2 notes, with middle index. Groups of 3 with ring, middle index. For groups of 4 with little, ring, middle index, which is the complete hand closing movement. For groups of more than 4 notes, the principle is to continue the gesture consecutively, turning in the opposite direction. Therefore, 5 notes are played with little, ring, middle, index, middle. 6 notes with little, ring, middle, index, middle, ring. 7 notes with little, ring, middle, index, middle, ring, little, and so on. The reason why phrases of more than 4 notes length are not played with a different combination of fingers, little, ring, middle, index, little, for example, is that the feeling of continuity is the greatest the closer fingers are placed on the hand, the more consecutive they are. 3. I shall now exemplify the Pereira technique on a scale. On this F major scale, I'll play each note as being an individual note, not entirely connected to any of the other notes, whether they are placed after or before the one we're playing. So everything with index. So each note sounds very much on its own. Now dividing it in groups of 2, and with the accent on the first note I shall play index middle. The same group of 2, but with the accent on the last note I shall play middle index. Groups of 3, index middle ring, with the accent on the first note. Same 3 fingers, but the accent on the last note will be ring finger middle index. Groups of 4 notes with the accent on the first one, we shall play index middle ring little. And if the accent is on the last of the group of 4 notes, we'll play middle little ring middle index. Before moving on to the melodic examples, I would like to make a clarification. No chapter in Música Humana works completely isolated. For the purpose of clarity, the matter of each one is presented as isolated as possible, but such version does not bear sense in a musical application. The employment of my method in music always implies a combination of all chapters, the proportion of each one varying according to what music has as its priority of message, for example phrasing, dynamics or timbre, which should therefore become also a priority in the interpretation by the instrumentalist. Thus, the following examples of right-hand fingering will follow an additional logic, that the index is often the more appropriate finger to perform the naturally accentuated notes of a melody, for example, those on the first beat of each bar. When fingering a cellular or motif, the player will encounter 2 main types of situation. One where the notes surrounding the naturally accentuated note, played by the index finger, give the impression of moving away from it, and another where they give the impression of moving towards it. Thus, in the first situation, the fingering will be index, middle, ring, little, moving away from the index finger, which accentuates the note. And in the second situation, little, ring, middle, index, moving towards the index finger, which is playing the accentuated note.